This is the Silt versus role playing game, part six, or no, A God Must Feed, part six. Let's do our basic recap of active assignments and the state of our custodians. So, our current assignments that are active are the Hungering Roots and the Floating Market. You have answered the question on the Hungering Roots, and you now have the opportunity to resolve the assignment by working with the growers to adapt their methods and establish a more sustainable operation that does not threaten the community. And what you all had kind of settled on is that the basically this god was being misused because it was originally a fertility god, and that's kind of the basic like kind of problem. I can't remember what you all decided you were going to actually do to like help with the re-implementation and of this god into better practice, but in any case that was basically what was kind of going on with it there. The floating market is still active. We haven't made too much progress on it yet, but we do need to figure out which illegal product presents the most serious danger to the public, which will then allow you to focus your investigation. Currently, um, right now, Theo is at the Hungering Roots assignment, and Sedna and Jasper are at the floating market assignment. We are going to have a third active assignment as soon as we get going. Um, I do, however, want to observe that Pele was able to resolve the Dusk Mother assignment last time. Taking a look at the custodians, everyone's in pretty good shape. Theo has a ton of conditions as usual, but most everyone's okay conditions wise. I do think that many of you owe us verses, though, if I'm not mistaken.
I owe
So,
too.
yeah, so we will probably kick off with that. We'll kick off with verses, and then I'll introduce, or we'll kind of begin the phase or the beginning of the session proper at that point. Are there any questions about anything up to this point? Okay, then let's go ahead and swing over into verses. Who wants to begin?
I can start.
Mm-hmm.
I even have notes written out for this one. I'm prepared. I'm going to do a flashback to the time you were confronted with the fact that sacrifices are necessary for a god must feed. I'm going to stick with the second person thing because it's fun and I like it. So you have so few memories of your parents. You have split moments and images that are kind of blurred over time in your young mind. And if you had remembered more, maybe everything would have been different. You were 6 years old when you made that fateful wish at the well that day in the forest. You don't remember when you were 3, when you were walking with your parents in the harsh outskirts of the company town you lived in, and the geothermal well pits that pockmarked the landscape. You don't remember those. You don't remember your dog bounding beside your mother, enjoying the sunny day, and your father's hand as he helped you over the rocks and uh, around the steamy vents. You don't remember the rumble of the ground and the sense of dread as the dirt fell away and the steam rose. You don't remember your parents grabbing you and holding you tight and staring at the figure in the steam in fear. You don't remember your mother reaching down, grabbing a broken stick, and tossing it into the steam for your happy dog to bound after. You don't remember the satisfied noise of the deity as it faded back into the earth, your dog nowhere to be seen. You don't remember that. If you had, maybe you wouldn't have wished it that well. Or maybe when all the children in your new town were gone and all the adults looked at you in fear and avoided you, even your guardians in the group home, leaving you to fend for yourself, maybe if you had remembered that day with your parents, you might not have gone back to the well again. The one memory of your parents you do have, the one of their screaming pale faces as they and the rest of the adults in the company town were bound in steel gibbets outside the geothermal plant. That memory of opening today the plant that everyone has been working so hard on, a special event hosted by the church electric, and a sacrifice to the saint to bless the plant itself. A hairy grown-up pushes his flag into your hand. You remember that, the saint's prayer mark, and waving it as everyone cheered, as the adults urged you and the other children to cheer along and applaud as all the parents were lowered into the opened vent. And you cheer along, caught up in the moment, caught up in the excitement, your chubby fist clutching the flag. You were 4 then. That is one memory you do have. It doesn't seem like much to your young mind. 6 years old, you don't know what it is to have other memories of your parents. So when, in desperation and loneliness, in this town with no children and adults that only fear you, when the wishing well God requires payment for your next wish, it doesn't really seem like much to give that memory up. And so you do, and you wish for all the people in the town to be nice to you forever. If you had more memories to share, maybe things would have been different. The end.
Let it be noted, memorialized on this episode, 6 sessions deep, that I have been wrongly accused of being a person who dislikes backstory. I'm a game designer who clearly loves backstory. Who wants to go next?
We see Pele leaving the the town after last session, walking along. And I guess it's kind of like the preliminary journey move, kind of, or this can just make up as like where we get Pele to where Pele goes next instead of just using a full journey move. But we see them walking and then finally getting to where they stashed their motorbike. And driving out and like meeting up with wherever they meet up. But they're driving on the road, and we see this kind of like, that Hayao Miyazaki, that kind of like side long view where you can see landscaping. You just see wheat fields, and the motorcycle with the sidecar crosses, and then we get to Pele's field of vision. Pele's just kind of taking in everything and looks out over the wheat field. And then we just see the camera angle up and we see people walking along a wheat field that looks similar, but it's different. And we see like a scrawny guy and we see like a woman that's kind of built. And we see occasional others and they're all carrying something on their back. And they stop in different places in this wheat field. And then one by one, you start seeing crosses go up. And then the camera cuts to each individual as we see other family members. They themselves are naked, but we see their family members clothed begin painting on them. This like bright yellow markings. And then we see them put on these crowns of like old dried and twisted wheat crowns, essentially, that have been woven together. And one by one, they all climb up on these crosses, and their families take ladders and rope and tie them to them. So they are tied to these crosses. Then all at once, the families take the ladders down, they collect, and they look at them one last time, and they walk away. And time passes where we just see the end of day and then night, and we see Pele sitting in the middle of them, just sitting stoic. The screen cuts black, and then it awakens bright, sun shining, and you can hear screaming coming from one side and crows cawing. And you can hear it from on the other side. And then finally, Pele starts feeling pecking as there are crows that are starting to gather around, as essentially this coming, you're like right of passage, this like your time, you are ready, you have grown past being a child and you are ready to work the fields, is seemingly this scarecrow ritual. As the camera pans out and you see that there are multiple people that have streams of blood coming down their arms and their cheeks, as they essentially have to distract or scare away these crows from the wheat field for an entire day. And then finally, at the end, when dusk is arriving, the families come back, they put the ladders up, they cut the people down. People are missing chunks of flesh, some have passed out, and Pele is just stoic and just steely-eyed and just committed and won't let go of the cross, even though they've cut it down. And that is my whispered psalm.
In case anyone needs to be reminded that this is a horror game, who wants to go next?
I shall go. I think my two verses of history lead into one another, so it's hard to tell the difference between the two. I think sort of as a point of irony, because I think the audience needs to be reminded of what happened last time, specifically with Pele of all people, because Pele has made a very unfortunate dealing. Pele has been sort of propositioned for making a saint, possibly out of Theo. Theo seems like a good fellow for it. Of course, Theo is always a good fellow for it, because technically this wouldn't be the first time he's been chosen for it. There is a reason why Brother Boyle and Sister Sore is not worshipped in hospitals, and instead the one who's swaddled in bandages and the healer of the broken is worshipped instead. Because in Theo's religion, they're saints. They're called patient zeros. You take on so many burdens. Eventually, those burdens have to spread elsewhere. They have to pour out. And those who are unlucky enough become epicenters of disease. That's why they never really stay in one place for too long, to avoid the creation of these saints. Because even if this thing could get created, it could infect others. It could fuse them all together. It could create this monstrosity of disease and flesh. But sometimes it can be useful to try to rescue them instead. To cut away, to physically remove them. I think in the early days of transforming, Theo was so terribly afraid, because he wasn't meant to be like this. He was meant to heal. He was not meant to infect. How could he take this? How could he become this? There's screaming. There's gunshots. And he's being lifted up. The days blur one together as he's fighting off disease. His arms and legs are bound. And people keep on saying, you must give it up. No one can ever touch you again if you're like this. You must give it up. They can let you out again if you want. But you cannot take on the pain. You cannot take on the suffering. You must obey.
I can't believe y'all are going to make me follow this. This is just pissing me off.
Yeah, this sucks.
I mean,
oh my god,
all right. So what's
was that both of yours?
that?
Yes, that was both of mine.
I mean, I guess I'll go last. Yes, I have Jasper's whispered psalm to narrate a flashback to the first time you felt the presence of the Watcher. How did you feel truly seen for the first time? I have a volunteer for this one because, again, I will be taking a certain angle with the verses of prophecy. At a previous moment than the exact time during the Custodians traveling about, a stop on the road at one point, we see Sedna and is approached by Jasper. Sedna, darling, can you help me with something really quickly? I'm rather sheepish to ask you of this, but I have a favor to ask.
I was going to say no, but you being sheepish is just pretty interesting. What?
Well, I figured that while we're stopped for the time being, I think that a creator's worst enemy is his own mind, and I've been working on a piece of writing. And I was wondering if you'd be willing to read the dialogue while I read the stage direction, just so I can hear it from another set of ears, if you'd be so kind, please, Sedna.
You want me to read out one of your things?
Yes, I'm not asking you to perform before the government itself. I'm just saying, can you read it with just so I can hear this?
Absolutely. I would love nothing else.
Fantastic. I will read the stage directions. You are playing the part of a young child, an urchin named Sparrow, and he reaches into his pouch and pulls out a bunch of papers and hands them over to Sedna. Here, and I dropped a link in the chat. Here, I'll read the stage direction. The scene, young Sparrow, a humble barkeeper's assistant, stands alone on a dimly lit small stage in a run-down dive bar. He clutches a mop in his hand, sweat on his brow, as he recalls the fateful moment when he met his god.
Sparrow. In this forsaken dive, where shadows play.
A little bit more feeling in that sentence, please. Just a little bit more. Elevate it.
With mop in hand, I toiled night and day. A humble lad, forgotten and unseen.
Less stilted, just flow the text, Sedna, flow the text.
Do you want me to do this my way or your way?
I apologize. Just read it naturally. Don't think performatively. Just like you'd read a book.
A humble lad, forgotten and unseen, in corners dim where dreams grew evergreen. The raucous crowd, their laughter filled the air, yet I, the sparrow, was not welcome there. Just sweeping up their sorrows and their sins, as life's dark symphony played on within.
Okay, we're getting there. Yes, and sorry. As the young boy mops the sodden floor, the stage brightens as a lone spotlight grows upon the lad's sullen face. There is a gleam in his eye, an awareness act.
I thought you didn't want me to act.
Just fucking read the text, Sedna, please.
To think a light in this horrible place, from whence did it come, with nary a trace? Is that a figure I see, eyes beholding? A piercing gaze sees truth all unfolding.
You are ruining the text, Sedna! Shut up! Stop it!
Then you do it! Jasper!
Sedna, I apologize. I've lost myself. Please, just, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. I'll get back. I think maybe I'm being too flowery with the text. Thank you. I just, so critical.
Well, you might as well finish it.
I will retool
Show
it.
me how you want it to go.
I think the problem, perhaps, is it is too poetic. I do recall a time in my youth when I was but a penniless urchin child working for scraps and little pennies that could scarcely afford even the tiniest bit of comfort in a small life. I gathered what I could working upon a stage, not as a performer, but as a cleaner, a dive bar in a dirty, dismal place of the city where many people spent their night bodily drinking and fighting and just being the depths of depravity that humanity ever delves deeper into. Nonetheless, I swept the small and dismal stage where occasionally a performer would grace, but I didn't care much. I was happy to have the task, and it was one night in particular that I recall as I stood upon that elevated platform, that simple wooden facade of a stage, but still nonetheless had a power before it like a dais of old from which a king could speak, if you would believe such dreams of a child's imagination, but that is indeed what I had thought. And despite the loneliness of my station, I remember feeling a light, not a real light, not the spotlight, magnified flame that would shine from the far end of the room. No, a light beyond the curtain we call our world, a light of pure, piercing sight. And it was in that moment that somehow I knew, standing upon that stage with a mop in hand and very little else in the world, I met him. Or rather, he met me, or he revealed himself to me. That watcher whose eyes are ever upon us, the only audience that matters most. And despite living my life in the eyes of others, this was the one time I had felt seen. Maybe something like that. I'm still working on the text a little bit. Apologies for losing my temper, Sedna. I will, thank you. And he dips out of there very sheepishly.
Fantastic. Boy, I tell you what, these verses are going to be a really tough act to follow, but I will do my best. Fortunately, my bit is scripted as well. So, not by me, though. Fantastic. Thank you all so much. Well, if you haven't already done so, you can mark a new end of session questions. And let's see. Do we have any moves that resolve at the beginning of session? Okay. Then, with that, I shall introduce our new assignment. You can follow along on the sheet. Our new assignment is called The Sleepless Warden. The distant town of Welkin's Vigil is perched on the northeastern cliffs of the peninsula, across the nameless channel from the distant Linger Straits. It once served as a military outpost in anticipation of a war that never reached the peninsula directly. Local historians will tell you that, in centuries past, it was the site of a stone fort where chieftains kept watch along the coast for incoming raiders. Anyone who's vacationed in Welkin's Vigil will tell you it's a lovely town with scenic views and quaint locals who are proud of their history, so it's an unusual location for the Custodians to be sent on an assignment. It seems that an Iron Cormorant, a decommissioned battle saint which, until recently, stood on display at a veterans memorial in the town square, has been activated and now patrols the outskirts of town. Some folks call it the Sleepless Warden. Security briefings with the Peninsula Armed Forces confirm that the battle saint was fully disarmed years ago and has no operational capacity. An expert from the Institute for Theological Research and Innovation has suggested that underlying divine influences may have played a role. The fact that the population of Welkin's Vigil is largely composed of veterans and families displaced by prior wars, all of them having served war gods in the past. If historical records can be trusted to remain unaltered by the slew of modern propaganda gods, it has also been claimed that Welkin's Vigil was once a pre-modern fort built over countless burial mounds of distant warrior clans. Perhaps some ancient god has been stirred by an atmosphere of perceived threats and hostility to outsiders, or perhaps the residents themselves, driven by a growing paranoia about attacks from abroad, have found a way to awaken it through acts of unsanctioned worship. To complicate matters further, the town itself is recognized as a site of historic and divine significance by the Central Glottage government, which is monitoring recent events via the Welkin Historical Interest Preservation Society to ensure that no historically significant features of the town are damaged further. In particular, the custodians have been informed that the town is sentimental to an important adjudicator who vacationed there as a child. This assignment must be resolved with a more cautious approach. I'm going to direct the following to Sedna. What details of the report make you certain that a god now animates the battle saint?
The battle saint can't just operate on its own, especially it doesn't have any operational capacity. It has no engine running it, basically. There's nothing inside of it. There's no saint in there anymore. So if it is up and moving around and making conscious decisions, then it's not an angel. It has to be a god. You can't just take over an old saint with nothing. It has to be something extremely powerful.
Yeah, it seems like just intrinsically there's like it's a god, right? It's got to be. Your question here is how has the warden been awakened intentionally or accidentally? That's a complexity too. Opportunity, unlock the next appropriate question. And we have a verse, the verse of the endless vigil. Each custodian recalls something from their past which haunts them and leaves them unable to fully let their guard down. And so Pele is currently in journey phase. Everybody else is in investigation phase. So I think we're going to get Pele on the board here in terms of the journey. Obviously, Pele, your journey scene has to be a solo personal ritual scene because nobody is with you right now. But I'm going to pull up the journey materials really quick and tell you what your journey phase looks like here. I think we're going to do the dig. A construction site is visible by the side of the road. Along with the usual traffic cones and safety vests bearing the mark of the watchful step, preparations are underway for some kind of dig or foundation work. So this journey scene is one that repeats. Every time you come by here, we do another little part of it. And our first part is, and this is paint the scene for everyone, what seemingly excessive precautions have been taken during the setup of the dig site? Everyone think about that for a moment.
Oh my god, there is so much yellow tape around this spot. Like there is the one that just like separates the dig from the road. There's another one that separates like sort of some sort of like tents from like the dig, and then there's like a final one of do not cross this or otherwise whatever you experience is going to hurt the entire time. There's just so much yellow tape.
There's that yellow tape, and then there is yellow tape personified. For every action that they do for this dig, they have to get approval by an inspector. So every time they hit a piece of concrete with a jackhammer, it has to be approved by an inspector. And the inspector has to go around to each parts of the dig. So there's a lot of just people just standing around waiting for this one inspector to come by and be like, okay, you're good. Make your next movement. And then it looks ridiculous.
There's a like razor wire that is being rigged up around the dig sites that hum with electricity, And to the discerning eye, you'd actually realize that the barbs on these are all only facing down. Like you could fall without getting, fall without getting cut, but like it's clearly getting back out of the pit would mess you up.
Oh my god.
Nice. It's really good. We don't have Amanda at the moment, so we'll just we'll keep going. Pele, you can do the journey move even though you're by yourself. You have the option of alternatively, once per session, when you choose to travel alone, you may clear a condition by engaging in your personal ritual. You do have a condition under Dr. Caro's thumb. That's a pretty fun condition, but I'll still let you shake it if you want to try. And your personal ritual, just for people who might be paying attention, is the tarot. I'd love to see what the tarot is like in this world. Dr. Caro will continue to be a problem, but maybe just not in a way that affects your dice if you choose to clear that one.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna clear the condition.
Okay. Sure.
Because I haven't done what Dr. Caro's asked me.
That is
So
true.
I think,
yeah.
So I think I'm just gonna take the time while like waiting, because there's like a line of like it's like this country road, and they're just, this inspector has to stop and let the signal guy know it's okay to let somebody pass at this point. So it's just like very much stop start. So Pele brings out the thing that we saw before on our very first journey move, which is this wicker statue with a cavernous, toothy mouth. It's just like this a wicker man, essentially, but has a big head that has been like a bobblehead, like that is made out of marshmallow, that have all been formed together. And you see like the teeth that, like, when Pele's been getting rough with people, has been collecting teeth and putting them in one by one. So that is sitting in front of Pele. And Pele's just moving the motorcycle with the sidecar with their feet every time, and has pulled out what looks like tarot cards. This is not any clear, like, major or minor arcana that you and I would know as people, but it is cereal box mascots that have been cut out. Pele has taken cereal boxes from Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth and has taken and cut the mascot parts of them and is sitting and is shuffling them, and goes ahead, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just pull out my own tarot. I've got it right here. We'll shuffle. It's just shuffling and just going, and then makes a card and pulls it. And it shows a couple that's waltzing together. And it's Waltzing Walnut Crunch. But the mascot of this is a couple that is dancing with each other. And they look like they're in love, but they're being very like prim and proper about it, but they pulled it reversed. So that is actually you can't see it because my screen hates me, but it's temperance reversed, which is, so it's like very prim and proper, but two people in love and everything like that. That whole thing of just like together, but it's reversed. So it's the opposite of temperance. And so Pele's just like, interesting. And then just puts the tarot up, puts that card in the mouth of the statue, and pulls out a bowl, has some cereal, and just starts crunching away.
Pele, thank you. Which assignment are you joining?
Pele is going to floating market seems taken care of. I think Pele is going to take care of is going to head to the Sleepless Warden. It's going to provide groundwork, because like Pele in their head is like, okay, these previous assignments have been more like talking to people, and Pele doesn't talk to people. Pele gets answers. This one is like scouting, assessing. Like there's a lot of, we have to go with caution. There's red tape around all of this, and like it has to be buttoned down. So they need a shadow, and Pele feels like a shadow. So let me lay the groundwork. Let me head to the Sleepless Warden, and Pele still feels that vial in their pocket. But it's like, let me sit on it. Let me wait. Let my dear friend come to me. My fellow custodian come to me in due time. Theo, temperance, right? Reverse temperance. So I am expecting to move with action. But let me see if I can change my fate, my luck for myself. It might be futile, but yeah, I'll wait for Theo to approach.
Fantastic. So Pele's at the Sleepless Warden, Sedna and Jasper are at the Floating Market. I think I want to just get everybody in time and space. So Pele's sorted. Sedna, it is daytime. You had heard some strange noises coming from the tent behind that one particular shop. What's it called? Let me look. Speedy Supplications. And I think you had decided to maybe like go do something else, maybe, or what are you doing at this point?
I think I've noticed a radio tower, and I'm going to go and just
Oh.
quietly sit under the radio tower and play with my radio for a little bit.
Oh, very intriguing. Very interesting indeed. Jasper, you were going down to the tugboat that is the site of Revel Among Ruins, right?
Yep, that's right.
Very good. Theo, you are at the Hungering Roots assignment.
Yeah.
There is no more investigation to be done here. We
Yeah.
are strictly in resolution for that one. I will remind you that you have unlocked resolve the assignment by working with the growers to adapt their methods and establish a more sustainable operation that does not threaten the community. Whatever it is, it should incorporate the idea that you all established in the question, which is, or in the answering of the question, which is that it was originally a fertility god. So we're going to take a break. I need about 10 minutes. And so that should give you time, Theo, to think about what
Yeah.
the resolution is going to look like here. And then we'll come back and do these scenes. Okay. See you in 10. I'm very intrigued, Sedna, by this radio tower thing. What are you doing?
Well, whenever I'm feeling a little out of sorts or not sure what to do, I usually just sort of sit down quietly with my little radio that doesn't have any batteries, this old rusty radio with all of this little restamped foil prayer marks. And I want to use a voice in the static, which is my new move that I have taken. So basically, I'll just read out what the move does. It is the Saint favors radio as a means to communicate with her followers. Her steel signal towers are found almost everywhere. When you tune into the airwaves, your consciousness spreading across the landscape like radiant lattice of energy. Roll with sensitivity. On a hit, you're answered by an entity or danger. You may ask 2 questions from the list. There's a list. The answer will not come directly, but in the form of a clue or a description that reveals a clue nearby. And then on a 10 plus, there's a special thing that happens where the radio conversation does not alert anyone or anything to my whereabouts.
Oh, how interesting. Okay. I love this. I think this is a really fun move. I know where this move comes from, and I'm excited to see how it goes. Yeah. Go ahead and roll.
Awesome. Oh, what's my sensitivity? Oh, it's not sensitivity, it's communion. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's an error. Okay, well, that's a 4.
There is no miscondition, but if you had hit, you would be answered by an entity or danger related to the current assignment. I think this might be a situation where you do make contact with a danger. There are rumors that traveling along the White Gull River is more than just the floating market, that there is indeed a murderous flock of fowl called the unsinkable brood. Who knows what divine power binds them and gathers them? Are they angels, murderous angels? Are they a bizarre saint made up of numerous different beings all jammed together? It's unclear. But it is indeed a flock of ducks, geese, cormorants, oyster catchers, shell splitters, tide spears, hook snatchers, and other waterfowl. You've noticed them, perhaps individually, but now they're all gathering around you here at this radio tower. A life among the god-polluted currents has warped them. You can feel their unusual hunger. You can hear their malicious thoughts. Normally they feed on river angels and raid small fishing boats. But here they have found something very energizing in you. You're presently surrounded by geese and birds and other, just all these bizarre collection of waterfowl, and they're all staring at you with eyes that are black but somehow knowing, and they're surrounding you. What do you do?
I would like to take my black lacy umbrella that I have. It's the one with the prayer marks on the handle. And I'm going to open it up and chase them away with it, opening and closing it.
Very good.
I've suddenly remembered my Charlemagne.
Exactly. 1000%.
I like it very much. That sounds great. I think this is probably going to be the revelation move, of course. Do you want to use the sacred conduit as well?
You know what? Yes, I absolutely do. Yes.
A spark of the saint's power still lives within you. You can channel the divine currents, mark a charge box, and you'll make this roll advantage. Let's talk about the revelation move, though. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Running into this swarm of deity-powered birds is definitely just going to be running into my doom, and I'm gonna get picked apart like one of
It's
Pele's
worse than
scarecrows.
that. They are going to take you to their matriarch, who is going to pull you apart. Go ahead and roll with advantage, and I think the stat that you have to roll is probably I think it's probably focus.
Okay, that's my good one. That's a 10.
Very nice. Think about what the scene looks like when you chase them away. We'll check in on Jasper. Jasper, you're crawling around the bowels of the Revel in Ruin, which is like a little novelty gift shop. But also we had some hints that maybe it's a front, like for black market goods as well. No sign of who runs the shop yet. And the interior of the tugboat is certainly not as goofy carnival fun as the exterior. The interior is just kind of dimly lit, damp smelling, and tight corridors. What do you do?
I feel like he's sneaking through very stealthily, trying to glean the various, corners of the underbelly, as it were, and like for the fictional positioning of it, I'm using my new a shadow lantern, so I am bathed in shadow, but it appears as blue light to me, but like it's so to aid along the task of like sneaking around here just to hide a little bit better.
Jasper mark that?
Sneaking around. I'm just using it for the narrative right now.
Okay, very good.
I don't think I'm
Okay.
gonna mark it yet, but yeah, just so like hey, I'm
it's gonna
doing
be
magic technically.
I like it. It's the information move with focus.
Cool.
Let's see if you have a condition that would.
I'm
I think unsettled will probably affect you negatively.
all right. Well, you know what? Hey, we love disadvantage in this household. I will roll the bones, as it were. Literal bones from these dice. Oh, that's fucking solid. Okay.
Okay, good.
You said plus focus?
Mm-hmm.
10.
Nice. I owe you a clue. We'll come back to this. Theo. Theo, what's your plan?
Well, I am aiming to make contact with one of the harvesters. I believe I've met Leo,
Leo
Mescal,
Mescal, yeah.
yeah, before, and just want to have a little chat, to see, like, hey, maybe we could improve some things because there's some miscommunication going on. I think, like, I have, like, under my arm a couple of, like, things such as the almanac, detailing, uh like notes of, like, how this god has been interacted with in the past, as well as a jar of a different god that maybe could help satiate each other, maybe form like a one of those symbiotic relationships.
I think you can find Leo outside of the factory,
Mhm.
enjoying a smoke break.
Mhm.
That seems fair.
Hello.
He says,
Ah,
"Hey, you know everyone's looking for you and your group, right?"
not me in particular, though, but however, I know things are being dealt with my higher ups about the whole situation. It seems that there may be some miscommunications with going on with that.
Everyone's a little on edge. They found a guy dead in the
Yeah,
shrine room.
the god is getting a little bit out of hand because
His face was caved in.
yeah, yeah. So I believe that the plant may be gaining a little bit of mobility there.
You think
So
you think the harvest god did it?
yeah, I think so. Because technically speaking, it is not exactly a harvest god, but more of a fertility god of growth and what have you. So there's a lot of complicated things going on. Like
That actually makes a little bit of sense.
yeah, the god is being worshipped wrong. Here I have like, and I hand him the almanac. This details like a lot of the history. I'm not sure how this has fallen out of favor, or like does the plant fall into like new management or what have you. Like this should like set everything up in the
He's
right way.
He's like, yeah. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of weirdness lately. I the it makes a lot of sense that maybe it used to be a fertility god because, well, lately when I come home, I'm a little, what's the right word? Ready to go.
There is no right word. Sorry.
Yes, that actually makes quite a bit of sense. Actually, thinking about it, I do have something else because typically,
sometimes like 2 or 3 times a night.
uh, sort of sometimes gods can interact with each other in peculiar ways, and I have a theory, and
Okay.
I pull out my jar of rice beneath the loam,
Oh,
because gods, this particular aspect of a god is more with also sort of growth and growing, and sort of if I'm imagining if they met another god that they could keep each other occupied for to prevent the god from getting too distracted and too excited, I guess the word is, with at least maybe it could help you and figure out some things. So I'm just trying to hand over this jar.
he says, so what do you want me to do? I get that our little project here is getting a little out of hand. Like, nobody, I mean, I realize that Haven is never going to go for any big changes, though. I mean, what are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting something a little bit on the down low of more or less taking this jar to the shrine and then opening it up just to give the gods something to do. Sort of maybe one can lead the other and see sort of what sort of reaction we could get out of that. Healthy competition, as it were. Because it's, as you say, it's less. There's a lot of pent-up energy here. And typically, the best way to release it is with fellow compatriots.
I love this is an interesting conversation. I love this. I think we're probably looking at 2 die rolls here.
Mm-hmm.
The first, a veiled move to convince Leo to even try this,
Mm-hmm.
and then the second, a revelation move just to see if it works.
Okay.
And so, I think I'm okay with regular dice on this initial move with presence.
Mhm.
If you have any particular shrine items or altar items that you want to use, by all means. But
Technically, I'm trying.
I'm in the fragment of Rides Beneath the Loam.
Yeah,
Might be better for the next roll, but yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think I originally was going to try to argue to hey, since I'm giving up a shrine item that I could clear condition, but now I'm seeing that it's 2 rolls, I may want to just use it for
I think
advantage from the
should-
second
for
roll.
the second roll. Yeah, just do this first
Yeah.
one with regular dice. See how it goes.
Okay.
What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail, though?
I'm afraid that he's just not gonna take the jar from me because it's a weird jar of mold.
Yeah, fair. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. That is pretty dang good. Presence, that is a 12.
Oh, very good. I'll give you your bonus. Your bonus is I'm not going to make you do the second roll. So
Okay.
you can give away the item to clear the condition per your move if you want to do that instead.
Yes, please.
Which condition are you going to clear?
My one with Rides Beneath the Loam.
Very good. Take that out of finally. Wrap up that little storyline. He will take you with him. He'll sneak you down into that subterranean shrine area beneath the factory, and so be thinking of what the scene looks like how we know this works, and even though we don't see the full timeline, like how you suspect that this harvest god's not going to be a problem anymore. So be thinking of that. But in mechanical terms, the Hungering Roots is resolved. So
Woohoo.
let's now cut over to Pele. Welkin's Vigil, a special kind of town. The kind of town that I think a few of us here are probably going to recognize in our day-to-day lives. A little out of the way, very patriotic.
Oh,
Lots of, veterans of wars, that kind of place. What's your approach here? So I'll give you kind of a quick recap. The Sleepless Warden has the assignment originally came to the group because it essentially animated and tore itself off a plinth in the middle of town and then stomped off. And now it's been maintaining a watch outside of town. So I think there's probably an approach where you sort of check out the surroundings of Welkin's Vigil to maybe directly interact with the Sleepless Warden. But if you don't want to do that yet, you can certainly just head into town and kind of see what's up. So what do you think?
I think the go-to thing that Pele would normally do in this is just go and assess it. But it has been made very clear by command, whoever is dealing out these assignments, that this needs to be dealt with caution. This is a historic site. This is a historic city. There does not need to be any damage or any risk of damage. So I think Pele is going to approach and see if there's any outside, constabulary, any official people to connect with and be let me know. I am here just to, I am like preliminary. I am just here to scout and see what's going on.
Well, let's start with this then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you see, as because you're on your motorcycle, right? I think you, as you're kind of like,
goggles.
as you're kind of idling, slowly idling by, approaching the town, you see a group of people, silver-haired veterans, all the way to youngsters just old enough to carry a rifle. They're all like doing drills, like in a little like kind of park area just outside of town. They're doing marching drills, and their little commander says something, and you can hear them like you can hear them like yell, "Yes, ma'am," and it's that kind of thing. What do you do?
I think Pele's going to stop the motorcycle. Is going to step off, goggles up on the fisherman's knit cap, zip up the tracksuit, grab the leather briefcase, and is just going to observe. I think real quick, is just going to like calmly walk up and just observe everything that's going on. Pele has firsthand experience on the receiving end of like military drills and everything like that. So just kind of
you'll see a little sandwich board that was like meant to direct people to this location.
Yeah.
Indicating that this is a meeting of the Welkin Citizens Militia. And go ahead and make the information move with whatever the
be like focus for
focus,
composure.
Yeah, focus. Yeah. And yeah, focus. Go ahead.
Perfect. All right. Sick. Going to just straight up roll. I guess. I think. Let's see what happens.
What'd you get?
That's cocked. It's 3 on 1. That is 4. So that's 7 plus 1, 8.
Good. We'll keep this going. As you're observing, just watching them run through their drills, I think they stop, and their little commander, who you'll pick up from just like conversation and like reactions. Her last name is Torres. Her first name is not clear yet. But they're gonna take a little break. She's like, fall out, and they all like kind of break up and are grabbing cigarettes and just chatting and doing different things. I think there's one younger man who sees your motorcycle, and he kind of like walks up to your motorcycle, and he's kind of like checking it out. He's got kind of like a really, really I would say he's got like one of those like basically like kind of fashy haircuts, like where kind of combed over to one side, the type, right?
Yeah.
Kind of scowling, and he's wearing a green military surplus jacket bearing the insignia of a forgotten battle saint. And he's like kind of checking out your motorcycle, He even like goes so far as to kick one of the tires. And that's happening kind of behind you a little bit, because you're not right there. And then this woman, Torres, she comes up to you. She's got slicked back hair, earrings made from shell casings.
Nice.
Yeah. And she comes up to you and she's like, "You looking to join the militia?"
Eyes kind of still lingering on the guy kicking the tires, looking at like this motorcycle, and then going to finally like look over slowly, head turn, look down at her. I'm potentially.
She's like, "Well, you're a big fella. You would definitely be. You bring look like you bring a lot of strength, a lot of power. That'd be very welcome in our ranks."
Absolutely. I hear that often. Right now, I'm here in more of a observational capacity.
She's like, oh, well, you should come on one of the heroes' walks. A
Is that
little history tour that I guide, I lead. There's one starting in a couple hours, in fact.
is this like a parade?
Nope. I just go around and we talk about some of the battles that have taken place around here, where certain heroes of wars have fallen, that kind of thing, monuments.
You do this while there's a patrolling guardian around the town.
She gets a little nervous about that. And I think this might be where your clue comes from.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of like instinctively rubs a patch on her jacket.
Mm-hmm.
The patch says, Heroes of Olvidian never forget. I'm going to put that in the chat for you so you can transcribe it. And then she says, so I guess word has already reached Glottage about our battle saint.
Yes, but in a more appreciative variety. I represent the I'm a outside representative, let's say a private contractor. I've been
Oh, so you're here to fix the town square.
for preservation. Yes.
Oh, good. Great. Oh, that's great. We've been waiting. We didn't know if anybody was going to get out here or not.
You might actually be my point of contact. What is your name again?
Angel Torres. No, I don't think so. You're probably going to want to talk to, well, probably Peter Mullock. He's our sort of local historian. He's in charge of all the WIPS activity here. WIPS is the acronym for that historical society.
Yeah. Pardon me, I just assumed you seemed so knowledgeable about the history of the town and you have a walking tour.
He's like, oh, I love it. You know, it's a great town. I mean, there's nothing like that clean mountain air, you know. I told my wife, you know, enough tunnels and trenches for me. We're moving somewhere where we can watch the sunrise.
Thank you for your service.
And she says, she kind of slaps you on the shoulder. She's like, well, I'm happy to drive you. Well, I guess you got your own wheels, but I'm happy to show you to where where the incident took place, and maybe you can figure out what you need. And we've got a lot of people here who are, who are always kind of looking for work. You know, I try to keep them busy with this militia stuff,
Absolutely.
but
Can we take a more discreet route or a more scenic route? I like to get a
sure.
assessment of the area. It's a holdover. You know, I like to know where I'm walking.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let me go get my truck, and she'll take you around. I do think though that the complication here is that kid who's kicking your tire. After she walks away, he comes up to you, and he's like, "Nice wheels."
Thank you.
So, how much does something like that cost? How much does that set you back?
Oh,
Never
that?
mind. Forget it. You like being able to ride around the open road, the wind blowing through your hair?
Yeah, I do. I find it quite relaxing. I like to start my days off, you know, wake up, stretch and exercise, then have some breakfast, and
You
then
know,
take a ride.
my granddad fought those Linger Straits bastards so you could enjoy your freedom. But what would you know about that, huh? I bet you live in one of those pre-sanctified apartments, all comforts abounding, praise to the tranquil abode, or whatever they're calling it now. I wouldn't stick around here long, though, if I were you.
I'm just here doing my duty, passing through, and then I'll be out of your town.
Like I said,
Eventually.
enjoy our scenic views, but I wouldn't stick around long.
Pardon me. I recognize that somebody of your caliber, as well as your grandfather, have served, dying and defending our freedoms.
I mean, he's Welkin. I'm a Welkin.
Oh, pardon me. Well, you've already given so much to this town. Might I give back?
And he just kind of says, he kind of looks and he's like, no, we don't need your help here. And he storms off. I'm going to give you marked by Fitzwelkin as a condition.
By Fitzwelkin. And as he storms off, Pele had his hands in his pocket and he just pulls out one of those individual cereal boxes and is like, don't worry, he'll taste you eventually. And then just puts it away.
Very good. It's a good scene. Sedna, tell me how you deal with these murderous birds.
I am sitting in the grass just underneath one of these big steel radio towers, and I'm fiddling with the knobs on my radio. And these doesn't work, so it's very quiet. But then you could start hearing a little bit of buzzing and static, as if I'm catching a station. And I start turning the knobs slower, and then I hear a honk. I look up, and I mean, obviously Canadian geese don't exist in this world, but the Linger Straits geese do. And this goose,
And they're just as hateful.
just as hateful, maybe even a little bit more, because this one has like God evil in it. And it's looking up at me with its beady little black eyes and just nothing but hatred in its whole being. And it honks again. And I very, very slowly stand up, and it raises its wings really big. It's clearly like the leader of this flock of birds, and it raises its wings really big up. And I reach down, pull out my umbrella, and I yell, honk! And I run towards these birds with my umbrella, flipping in and out, trying to be as loud and big as possible to try and seem like I am more frightening than these are.
And they disperse. At the end of the day, they're still just geese and ducks. Yeah. Good.
They might not have been evil god beings at all, actually. I'm not totally sure.
Nice. Jasper, you got a 10, right? Mm-hmm. Let me give you a clue. What you find. Make it a good one. Mm-hmm. Jasper, you find a large, it's a box that probably would have been used to stow like life vests and stuff like that, you know? So it's kind of a, kind of the size of like a desk in dimensions. And it has a D ring for a padlock, but it's unlocked presently. That's because you got a 10. And what catches your attention is there is a distinct green glow coming from the gap between the lid and the main structure. What do you do?
Like inside the chest, there's like
there's something glowing. Yeah.
I feel like, lantern bathed in shadow. He has a moment where he just kind of uncannily looks like Angela Lansbury in Murder, She Wrote, where he's like looking around, like with the light, and then he just kind of like nudges the lid open to peek inside.
Inside, you see a large number of glomes. Glomes, you'll recognize it. Gloam, the gently glowing caterpillar with the soothing voice, is a toy that was marketed to children as a friend to comfort you in dark times. These mass-produced, quote, worry worms were advertised as comforting dolls that soothe your anxieties and gently nibble away your sorrows. They were discontinued after a rather unfortunate sigil defect meant they did not stop nibbling when you began to feel better, but continued to drain away other emotions as well. There were some, some babies died, and that caused the worms to be banned outright. But they got a whole bunch of them here at Revel Among Ruins. And
interesting.
And they are glowing green. They're glowing green. They're writhing in place a little bit. There's probably like 24 of them in there. And just the mere presence of them is the clue.
Interesting. Fascinating. Kind of like looks at them. Anyone see the live action James and the Giant Peach movie?
No.
I'm imagining the bag of crocodile tongues, the writhing green shapes that are in there, just that kind of, yeah. And he's just kind of like staring at it, like the lantern, kind of like bathing into his eyes this mix of the blue glow from his shadow lantern and the green glow from these little glomes. And I feel like he will reach in, pick one up. Why not?
Oh, interesting. I would like the revelation move.
Yeah.
What do you afraid is going to happen if this situation goes afoul?
It's going to start nibbling.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's worse than that. You are going to become really possessive of this gloam.
Great. What am I rolling with? And will I have a condition?
I think it's probably communion. And I think because of empty, I'm going to put you at disadvantage because this is here to fill the void, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was designed to do.
Let's see here real quick. I want to throw an item into the mix here just to use my altar for funsies. I have an interesting argument for this one. I want to mark the well-lit green room vanity mirror that does not show my reflection as like a because we never established what it does show. And I think that to the way that this is offsetting the empty is that it's the reflection he does see in that mirror is the more true version of him than him, as a grounding tactic of the man behind the curtain, the performer without, which I think I'm going to actually steal from another video game called Pathologic 2, which is fucked up. When Jasper looks in that mirror, he does not see himself. He sees a lithe figure in an almost skin tight bodysuit with an eyeless oval shaped white mask that is the truest version of himself. He sees yes, Jasper in a gimp suit is what he sees in the reflection.
Everything just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, everything's just worse and worse.
I'm here for it. Go ahead and roll with advantage. Or straight dice. Yeah. You're muted.
With my -1, that's a 6.
We'll come back to this. Theo, let's have give us the big moment. This is it for Hungering Roots. What happens?
Yeah, I think I am led down into this basement type of area where the shrine is set up. I think the body has been since removed, but the blood is still there. And I think part of like the negotiation is that I help take the jar in because, like, again, it's a strange moldy jar. Still a little creepy, and like I think I open it and I just sort of almost unceremoniously drop it, like empty it out onto the shrine, and the mold starts to grow on it, starts to fester and the plant starts to move and shift. And I think it senses that mold in me. And I think it just sort of almost, it looks at for a moment like I am going to be sacrificed next. But instead, as it sort of grasps me, trying to constrict me, trying to almost strangle me, I think sort of coming out of my skin, out of like pores and like my tear ducts, I think like bits of like spores and bits of like growth start to like ooze their way out. I think that's it's almost observing me, watching, as I sort of watch back. And I think we come to an understanding. And I think it lets me go. And to say what will happen in the future is a bit uncertain. But this god is appeased for now.
Fantastic. Thank you. Theo, do you want to go ahead and journey to another assignment?
Yes, I do want to, because it's to go to the Sleepless Warden, because I feel that's the most thematically appropriate for Theo at this moment.
All right. So you'll be in journey phase in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's I do want to get to Pele, but I want to actually go to Sedna first. Sedna, once you're done with your murderous flock, what do you do then?
I think, oh goodness. I want to get some like good investigating done. I'm gonna just head to whatever the nearest little shop is in the floating market.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think there might even be one that's like open for business early. I mean, it's technically a night market, but there's nothing to stop them from opening
Yeah.
early.
Yeah, it'll also
Especially,
give me
especially
some like
this,
coverage in case the birds
yeah,
start dive bombing me.
especially the one I have in mind. It would definitely be open earlier. So, that sounds good. Okay, so that's good. We'll pick up on it. I just want to know what you were doing.
For sure.
I do want to check in with Jasper as well. Jasper, you pick up the gloam with its big eyes that always look like they're a little bit wet from tears, and its strange green glow. You don't remember them having that. They were not marketed with an actual like green glow, but these do. And its little hand is just like gently stroking the back of your hand. And it says, there. Everything's going to be all right. Here is what I'm giving you.
Okay.
You have a condition, a brand new condition called emotional support gloam. Thank you for the chat, whoever said that. And Amanda, thank you. And you get to add the gloam to your altar as well. So long as you keep the condition, you never have to mark the gloam when you use it on a roll.
Oh man, and here I was thinking I was gonna write a verse for whatever this was gonna be. No, that's good. And I've never seen a keeper reaction like that before, so that's just put that in my back pocket for the next several games I'm gonna run. Yeah, like Jasper like looks at it and goes, "Hello, lovely to meet you. Do you have a name?"
My name is whatever would be most soothing to you. In fact, the naming of your gloam is an important part of the bonding process.
Oh, well, I see. Well, I'm not one to rush things that require such important thought. I will give this my full attention.
You can go ahead and tell me what troubles you so.
No. Oh, nothing troubles. Well, no. that is not entirely true, I suppose. Do you think what do you know? Do you only know what I know? How does this work?
I'm here to make everything better. It's like when you were little and you would fall down and scrape your knee, and your mother would kiss your boo-boo and make it all better.
Well, I don't know much of that myself. I never had a mother who kissed my boo-boos.
Oh. I would be happy to provide you with that which you have not yet had.
Indeed. You know, I know what I shall call you, new friend, traveling companion. You remind me of a similar oddity that I met not too long ago, though you are significantly more amiable and pleasant to speak with. I name thee Pickles II.
And Pickles II grabs your thumb and holds it tight and says, "That is a fine name. Now, tell me everything that troubles you." And here we'll cut the scene.
Very good.
Pele. Angel's in her truck. Are you going to just like leave your motorcycle and ride with her? Or are you going to ride behind her on motorcycle?
I'll ride behind,
Okay.
knowing that there's a Welkin. I was gonna leave it behind as like hey, you can check this out while I'm doing my business, and then he acted like a little shit. So
Yeah.
play stupid games, get stupid prizes. So joke's on you.
So as you're driving around, you know, she's going pretty slow, you know, and she's kind of like she occasionally, like, you can see her like point out the window at something to catch your eye, and you'll see like a bit of rubble or a bit of the old fort, because this town used to be a fort. You'll see a bit of the old fort wall or something like that. You'll see actually, let's paint the scene. Everyone, what sorts of things does Pele see in the environment that indicates that, in fact, this location has historically been the site of a number of battles?
Oh, the land is pockmarked with generations of artillery.
There are little with like trenches. There's like the barricades, the X's with like barbed wire and everything like that, and you can see where foliage, stuff like kudzu or something like that, has grown over. So you can still see flecks of barbed wire, almost as if like the barbed wire has been fused inside tree branches and vines and stuff.
There is a lot of historical signs of like, oh, here's this, there's the battle that happened here, and like there's plaques and whatnot. I imagine like a lot of the local townsfolk are very patriotic about the sort of history about Welkin's Vigil, of like my grandfather fought in the war, or like bumper stickers and whatnot.
Some dipshit named Stonewall was shot in the back here because he refused to duck.
So on this little drive, what are you doing?
I think Pele is just like, while like over the radio is like, and like over here, if you look over here, then you'll see this is where the Deer Run was. Deer Run was called Deer Run because there was a number of charges that happened here, and it was like two deers and like Pele's just like, oh, interesting. Oh, that's interesting. But Pele is trying to see if there's any sign of this sentinel, like this guardian or anything like that, but also like if there are any signs of like what route it takes. Like, is it out like a patrol where it's out in public, or is it like moving more guerrilla tactics where it's going from like hiding place to hiding place. How is this thing moving?
I like it. That's great. Go ahead and make the information move with focus, and regular dice is fine.
Perfect. All right. Focus, regular dice. I think fuck it, we ball. I think there's like I'm going to use the hand crank speaker with a cassette tape leveled to 17 jingles, that even though he's getting that like information about, and this is where that happens, like he's got that playing outside of the radio. That's just like, I can actually focus if I have the 17 jingles that are like play and everything like that instead of being distracted, as like a way to give me advantage on this.
Love it.
If that's approved. Okay. Focus. Sick. All right, fantastic. That is 5 and a 3, which is 8, which is 9 plus 1.
Very good. So I owe you a clue. We'll come back to that in a bit. We're going to take a quick break in a bit, but before we do, I want to go ahead and get the journey phase sorted out. So let's talk about, so Theo, you're in journey phase. Let's get your journey scene on the table. I'm changing that one move of yours to where when you do your personal ritual, this may not be how it ultimately ends up. I'm still making that decision, but I think if you want to do your personal ritual during this scene, I will let you stumble on a clue, basically. So let's talk about the wire-bitten child.
Oh.
A brand new line of fiber optic cable is being installed as part of the ever-expanding network out of central Glottage. As everyone knows, such endeavors require a deep investment in regional sacrifices. Parked along the side of the road is a line of cargo trucks bearing the prayer stamps of both the Maiden of the Caged Sun and one of her her recent descendants, the wire-bitten child. Massive coils of cable and stacks of freshly painted telephone poles await their ritual installation. Workers in dark goggles and spark-resistant jumpsuits are gathered around a small table and a set of blueprints. This is another one of those that deepens each time we visit it. Paint the scene, everyone. We'll do it when we get back, but I'll go ahead and give you the prompt now. The first pole has been erected, and the first few cables are being connected, swinging loosely until secured in place. A single representative of the wire-bitten child is also being raised up to the top of the pole. How can you tell they have been brought here as an unwilling sacrifice? Be thinking about that, and we'll take 5 and come back and do it. Let's go ahead and start with this paint the scene about the wire-bitten child and the sacrifice being hoisted up onto the pole. A nice little echo of one of our verses earlier, incidentally. Whoever wants to go first, please do.
I think, like, just to establish the scene, because Theo is there, Theo, like, has, like, sort of parked off the sort of side of the road, just taking a break, because, like, he's the only one who's driving, and just, like, it's been a long day, and, like, he sees, like, oh, this is kind of gruesome. They're getting ready for a saint, as, like, he sees, like, another white van. I think, like, originally the car construction workers came up to him trying to talk to, like, oh, you brought the saint, and he's like, no, I just like my van. It's a very, in that it can transport a bunch of stuff, and, like, they got to talk, and it was very nice. And then the tension changed as, like, the saint was being brought out in what effectively is, like, a squirming body bag. So there's that.
I think one of the things you can also see is in the squirming body bag, it is stamped on the bag with the logo for a local penitentiary.
The pole itself, typically when you see like light poles and like telephone wire poles and stuff like that, at a certain level they have rungs where people can climb up and everything like that, climb up and climb down and then get onto like a ladder or something. It's not the case for this pole. This pole has no rungs. there's just a cage, a container that is raised and lowered. I know I'm frozen right now. Okay, yeah. Raised and lowered by cable, by chains. It is
Gibbet?
like, yeah, gibbet. Yeah, like they are nobody climbs up this thing. There is a cage that's being hoisted.
Like
Yep,
a
whoever
Faraday-
makes gibbets.
It's like a Faraday cage meets a gibbet, you know.
Yes, a Faraday. Yep, absolutely.
When the covering is pulled back from them, they have had their mouth stitched shut with copper wire, and in their eyeballs are light bulbs that have been forced into the sockets.
Oh, Jesus. I love it. Theo, be thinking about what your, in the context of this scene, what your personal ritual looks like. We'll come back to you in a bit. I'm going to pick up with Sedna, though. So, Sedna, the one business that's actually opened right now is the Salt and Smoke Floating Grill. An aging catamaran with a charcoal grill and various soup pots mounted between the hulls. Old flags from commercial farm deities hang loosely, the chitterling, the toothed egg, the butter princess, but clearly none of those brands are being served here. Everyone, what modifications are in place that allow all food products to be rapidly disposed of in case of emergency?
There is a kickstand on the grill itself where all you have to do is kick it and the bottom underneath the grill will fall out, and anything that's on the grill will fall directly into the river underneath, so that there is no evidence.
I think that there is a lot of sort of levers that like could take like various parts where it just sort of shees off like the layer of like grease and whatnot with very easily and very rapidly, and it's like a lot of like just pipes and whatnot, just so like you can just like toss something at like a wall and like it hits like a flap and it goes whoop, 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 and like goes down into like the hole.
There's a sawed-off shotgun stowed away in a place that's hard to like. It's hard to see, so that just in case somebody gets any lip or tries to steal anything, real quick, just taken care of. It's practical.
Is this the kind of place that has like food wrappers? Do we think, like lying around?
It can,
Like
sure.
like food served in that. And I'm thinking like there's all like these like little like pull tabs on there that if you rip them out, it actually like it's all like flash paper, so it ignites it and burns it very quickly.
Very nice, very nice. When you approach Sedna, you see just the lone vendor wearing a stained apron. He has lank and thinning hair, a greasy odor, a toothy grin that he flashes as you approach. A notable collection of wards and charms. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a woman, hanging from her neck and from the rigging. She looks up at you and she says, "You're my only customer right now."
Well, that works out for me because I am starving.
Well, the soup will be ready in just a bit. That's what most people come here for. But
You know,
well,
I really love a good soup. Real love a good stew. Yeah.
you
if
look like the
uh,
type that'd be willing to get into some trouble for some stew if it came
Oh,
right
you
down
know
to it.
it.
Well, princess, what type of well, how hungry are you?
Well, I think I've been kind of running around all day. Haven't had much since breakfast. So pretty hungry. So if you get me one of those bowls.
Well, we have
and,
these and she pulls out one of those like plastic wrapped. What it is it's a little breakfast sandwich. She's like, Godflesh bite breakfast sandwich, something we're trying out here. Have you had Godflesh bites yet?
No, what are they made out of?
Well, Godflesh.
Yeah, but which god?
I can't tell you all
Some are
my
going to be more
secrets
delicious
now.
than others.
Can't tell you all my secrets. Listen, don't settle for none of those branded restaurants. And she points back at the banners, right? She says, this is the real deal, locally imported. Some people think it's a bit of an acquired taste, but once you try something that's so full of life, you'll never go back to supermarket meat.
Do you really think that gods are full of life? I always found them to be the opposite, full of death and destruction and
Depends on the
horrors beyond
god.
comprehending.
Fair,
And
but depends on the god.
but you wouldn't want to eat the ones that you're suggesting are full of life. If they're full of life, that's good, right?
Listen, I don't pass judgment. I don't have any particular opinion on which gods should be allowed to continue roaming the land and which ones get the axe if it comes down to it. But a stray god, you got to do something with it once you've dropped it. And that flesh is mighty energizing.
You said this is imported?
Locally.
Locally imported. Okay, that's a contradiction. But I'm sure it's very delicious. You're sure it's not one of the gods that you're wearing one of those chains for?
Don't. This, I'm just, better safe than sorry. That's what I say. It's all perfectly safe. Trust me. Now, the soup's just about ready here. If you want to go ahead and move on to lunch, if you don't want the breakfast sandwich.
Oh, I'm much more of a stew person. Soups and stews, yes.
She ladles a bowl for you. Now, there are several varieties, but she's only got the one right now that's ready to go. It's early in the day still. She hands it to you. The meat is gleaming, pearlescent, segmented, still writhing in a bowl of steaming broth, sizzling and crackling with internal radiance. Crunchy green shoots and tender fungal blooms in shades of pink and violet are floating in there as well.
Well, this looks and smells delicious. Now, I'm not going to bug you for your secrets. You already said you're not going to tell me, which I understand. But gosh, this is my first time really spending time down here at the floating market. Are all the stalls this good?
She's like, well, there are not many food stalls, and so it's kind of hard to compare, I suppose.
Any other particular stalls I should be checking out that you'd recommend? Anything interesting down here? Anything cool that it might not be found anywhere else?
You can make the information move with presence and see how that goes.
That is a 12.
Oh, very interesting indeed. Yeah.
The power of stew.
The power of stew. She says, it's funny that you should be here in the day shopping at a
I know, I didn't
nighttime
think the
floating
night
market.
thing was literal.
Yes, yeah.
I'm glad you're open.
It's there have been some other folks who've come by lately in the day asking questions. Are you familiar with the Institute?
The what now?
She says, never mind. So,
Institute, like a place you send prisoners?
forget I said anything. It's okay.
Huh.
And I do owe you a clue, though, an actual proper clue. That was your conspiracy clue, but
yeah.
She says, I think it kind of depends on what you're in the market for, I suppose. If you're the kind of person that is looking for a way to quickly dispose of some unfortunate divine matter, you might try Jones and Company, Theological Containment and Dissolution Services.
Ooh.
Is
I
that
do
what
like
you're
getting
here
rid
for?
of. Well, I'm not a big fan of gods and deities, so that could be pretty useful.
So you might be the type that would find a stray angel, say, and destroy it.
If it's in my power, then probably, yes.
You should definitely hit up Jones and Company. I
Jones
think
and
that's who
Company.
you're looking for. They'll be open in a few hours.
Gosh, thank you. What a great recommendation. I really appreciate this. And this stew, and I'm like half done the bowl. This is amazing.
It is very delicious, isn't it? And here, I haven't actually given you the clue yet, but she says, if you head over to Jones and Company, be sure to ask to see the real goods.
Ooh. I always like being part of secret things like this. This is exciting.
That's your clue, the real goods. And I think we just close the scene with you with a little wriggling, segmented leg slurping down your mouth as you
Gross.
crunch it between your teeth.
Oh, stew.
Very good. And the conspiracy clue is that Institute folks have been poking around the floating market. So, Jasper, what do you do with your gloam? Where do you go? What's next?
Well, I found a whole bunch of things in the bottom of the ship, but I think it's now time to leave the ship. Head back up topside. And I'm not sure what's next. I need to find Sedna.
That shouldn't be any trouble. She's the only open vendor right now. So,
Oh, Finch, you have to try this stew. It's incredible.
Oh, well,
Godflesh.
Godflesh?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm eating a god.
I'm Mog Squamous, proprietor.
I'm terribly sorry.
That's perfect. Yeah.
That's it. What else do you say when someone introduces themselves as Mog Squeamish?
Mog
Like,
Squamous, yeah.
I'm sorry. I think he waits for Sedna to finish eating, and just kind of off to the side, just flipping through things. And when she's around, Sedna, do you have any leads, updates whatsoever?
Yes. The stew lady has told me about a local shop that we should take a look at once it opens up.
What is the name of this shop?
Jones and Co.
Jones and Co.
Which, to me, makes me think they probably have a lot of really secret stuff because that is such a mundane name.
It's very mundane. If I were to disguise myself, I would do something like Jones and Sons. It makes it feel familial. Jones and Co. is just like saying, in broad on a marquee, we are doing illegal activities. Come on in.
Did you find anything?
No,
Not anything at all?
nothing.
Well, that's disappointing. But
Indeed.
I think we're going to do much better tonight.
Indeed. I'm very excited, Sedna, to see this market in full bloom, as it were. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's been rather quaint going about seeing the kind of beautiful corpse that it is during the daylight hours, but I'm ready to see some actual proper mercantile life thrumming through these metaphorical veins.
Well, you know it's all probably illegal and meant for summoning all kinds of things.
Yes, that's why I'm excited, Sedna.
Excited to take that all down. Yeah.
Yes.
Me too. Then we're gonna have a good
Wondrous.
time.
We are going to have an excellent time. Oh, those others were fools for not coming to the market.
Yeah, I wonder how they're doing though.
Oh,
Probably fine.
fine. They're probably fine.
Let's check in on them, indeed. Pele, here's your clue. As you're kind of taking this little, I think like you're at a particular stop, and Angel has gone on, and you're kind of noticing before you get on your motorcycle, a torched tractor in a fallow field. The words "Upon our hallowed soil" spray painted over its blackened metal shell. That's your clue. And since I owe you a complication on the clue, a car pulls up. It's Dr. Ishrakaro. He says, "Ah, Kessel. Funny to find you here. We keep running into each other."
Doctor.
He gets out. "Oh, love that mountain air. This is a beautiful, beautiful part of the peninsula, don't you think?"
Does have a certain crispness about it.
He kind of leans back up against the car and he says, "I'm really fond of the people here in Welkin's Vigil." His arms crossed. "What do you think of the locals?"
They're very dutiful.
They are indeed. They are very patriotic, I would say.
Yes, a national sense of pride fills the air.
Does indeed. These are the kind of people who, if you ask them to make a large, painful sacrifice for their country, they would do it. Don't you think?
I would assume so.
Yeah. I mean, if, for example, the organization I worked for was in need of a number of patriotic volunteers to undergo some experimental
Trials.
That's right. Trials.
Mhm.
These are the kinds of people who would step up. I mean, we love these people. They step
Mhm.
up, and we can give them absolutely nothing in return. And they just keep on stepping up.
What a very astute observation you've made, Dr. Caro.
I am a scientist of the human heart.
You truly are. I think
So
that
I
this
saw
would be...
your colleague driving into town.
Indeed.
I think they're going to be here pretty soon. That would be Mr. Solomon. And
Mhm.
I want to remind you of what we discussed the other day. And furthermore, I think you have shown a natural propensity for getting in touch with the locals, bonding with them, making them feel comfortable. I think it would be really, really great if you could convince a few of them to come find me and talk to me about this patriotic endeavor that the Institute's currently engaging with. What do you think?
I'm sure there's a way where I can hit two birds with one stone on that.
I love that. And he slaps you on the side of the arm. You're great, Kessel. I really like working with you. I think there might even be an opportunity to discuss some incidents in your past and to maybe make official notice of said incidents go away if you keep doing this good work.
Dr. Caro, we are on polite terms,
Yes,
so
professional
I will
terms.
keep this professional
Hmm.
when I let you know that there are certain things that I have done in life. These are things that I have made possible through will. And the decisions I made were made of clear mind and free will as well. I let you know that no matter what I do in life, no matter where I go or who I work for, these decisions will stay with me, and the consequences of decisions will stay with me, no matter what is read in a file or is known in somebody's head or heart, because I will always have them. I am not helping you for any kind of non-altruistic means. I am doing this for others.
Whatever
So you do
floats your
not need
boat.
to threaten me or entice me. I am here,
All
and
right,
I am
Kessel.
helping you.
All right, Kessel, I get it. I get it. Well, better let you continue your tour. I'm staying at a little B&B here in town. Come find me.
We should get breakfast.
We should.
That would be so nice.
I know that's kind of your forte, so yeah. And he gets in the car and gives you one of these and then drives off. We'll wrap up today's session with your scene, Theo, your journey scene. What's happening here?
I think initially the conversation was very polite, and I think I was had carving wood, just not into any shape, but sort of like just to see like the filings go off. And as I see this sort of body bag being dragged out, I think at that moment I just slice like the tips of my fingers a bit, start to bleed a little. So that's what they're doing nowadays. And I have my knife in my hand still. They're taking unwilling sacrifices. I think I am just going to approach like this crew, sort of trying to interfere a little, try to get a gauge of what exactly is going on.
Yeah, I like it. You can stumble on your clue here.
Mhm.
What was what's your personal ritual?
Wood carving.
Oh, okay, so you're carving yourself as a very good. I like that. What yeah, think about what your clue is, and we don't need to RP the scene. I just want to like see what you what you discover. It can be for any active mysteries or active assignment. So you can reveal that to us next time if you want, unless you know it now.
Yeah, I'll think on it.
Okay, sounds good. Just make a note for next time. And that feels pretty good for the session. Let's go ahead and do our end of session procedure. Rewards. We do get rewards because the Hungering Roots was resolved. I will drop this into chat and read it aloud for folks on the video. The rewards are: a small stitch root seedling used for splicing and stabilization of other plants will grow and become affixed to anything it is planted near. Add it to your altar. A jar of nutrient-rich compost water able to quicken growing things or neutralize toxins. A machete, grip wrapped in salvage leather cord, hand etched with the words "sow" on one side and "reap" on the other. It's so metal.
We know who's taking that one.
Midnight Reverie, a potent blend of loose leaf psychotropic tea, or There are 2 options for a memento from the investigation. Ask another custodian to describe it, and then add it to your altar. These are good rewards. Who wants what?
These are sick as fuck.
And
They're so good.
Gabriel's very good at writing
He's
rewards.
really good at
Yeah.
rewards.
He's really
I
good
feel
at
like we
writing
all know
rewards.
who's getting the machete. Like we.
Is
I
it
feel
Pele?
Yeah, it's Pele.
Yeah.
Uh,
Theo, I think you should probably get first pick because
100%.
you did the work.
Mhm. Oh God, these are. I want Midnight Reverie. It's just too bad.
Yes.
Go for it.
Take it.
Mhm.
yeah, Pele takes the machete.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm writing it down right now. Yeah.
It's so good. Reap on one side, so on the other.
I think I would like a memento.
Who do you want to give it to?
I think Wes, since Pele killed a dude in this mystery, I think it'd be fun.
While Wes is thinking
the
of that,
friend.
Jasper, do you want to say what yours is that you want?
Yeah. I think I'll also take the other memento,
Okay.
and I'll ask Amanda what memento Jasper gets.
I think you find at some point in one of your pockets a small, like a ceramic coin, and in it is a single paw print of a cat. It's a Mr. Pickle's paw.
And I think Sedna receives specifically a 2-pack of those grow lights that were flickering in the warehouse. You get like a fresh 2-pack that Sedna is able to use.
Awesome.
You want to start your own, hydroponics kind of thing.
Love it. End of session questions. Everyone is getting the first one, which is, did the custodians complete an assignment? Yes, you did. Theo, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation?
I
The
sure
harvest god,
did.
yeah. Did you go out of your way to connect with the local community?
I mean, kind of trying to establish sort of the proper rituals for handling this god, but it may be a bit push.
I think for the other one you definitely get credit, but I'm not sure that one sings quite as much. Did you deliver a monologue about any of the following: the nature of gods, the futility of individual choices in the face of indifferent powers, the horrors that society accepts as good and necessary, including any of your flashbacks?
It's less of a monologue, so and more or less actions taken against me, rather, or me taking actions, because I did get into, I imagine, a little bit of a fight with the people putting up the electrical stuff, but
yeah. Yeah.
it's not a monologue.
Yeah, I'm a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave it for now. Sedna, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation? Oh, you did.
All the
Angels, a lot of angels. Did you struggle with your personal faith?
Not in particular, I don't think.
Did you deliver said monologue?
I made some comments about how God should be wiped out and they shouldn't be selling illegal things and gods are terrible and you shouldn't be dealing with them at all. But it wasn't really a monologue.
It didn't
or
feel
a
super
series of
dramatic.
comments.
Yeah. Jasper, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation?
I assume the gloam counts.
Oh, it does indeed. Did you struggle with your personal faith?
I was kind of alluding to that with when he lost his composure with Sedna during the verse.
Oh, I'm into
and
that.
He's like, you're ruining it.
I'm into that. Yeah. Were you vulnerable with someone?
The gloam?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll take it. Pele Kessel, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation?
I don't think this time.
You actually did not, yeah.
Yeah, I double tapped last time, so we just,
Did you go out of your way to connect with the local community? Yes, you did. Did you deliver a monologue? Said monologue. We'll just say said monologue from now on.
Yeah, I did. Towards the end with Dr. Caro.
Oh yeah.
It was like no matter what you do, you're not going to. No choice I make, I have to stick with I have to stick with what happened to me.
That was
perfect.
Consequences.
Yeah,
that was perfect.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You've got your XP. Let's keep going. Do we have any moves or verse prompts that remain unresolved? Okay, then that just leads straight to stars and wishes. I will start today. My goodness, the verses, all four of those verses that we did, well, 5 if we include the double up on Theo's, but all those verses were so good. I mean, I think that I love that you all came really prepared. What I have like at different times I've for whatever reason I've earned this reputation as someone who does not like PC backstory, but that's not true. I just like it delivered a certain way, and this is how I like it done. And you all, it was magnificent. Like you all, everybody did their homework, and everybody came and created something really special that fleshed out not just your characters but the world as well in really interesting ways. And so this is what I come to a role-playing table for. So I very much appreciate that. Stars for everybody on that. But the play was really good as well. All the gameplay was terrific. I love everyone kind of actively engaging with their moves, which was really fantastic. I loved all the beats in this, and I continue to love the journey phase. I'm falling in love with the journey phase more and more every time we do it, and which is really heartening to me because it's the most like different thing structurally that we're doing in this game, and so it makes me really happy that it's working so well. But yeah, the gameplay was really terrific. So many good scenes. I really love emotional support Gloam. That whole situation is really fun. We're just continuing to learn so much about these characters in really cool and deep and interesting ways. And we managed to do all that today while also making good progress on all 3 assignments. And so that was also really great. My wishes are, I mean, I don't have anything in particular except that I just love this, more of this. Yeah. So.
I mean, yeah, I want to say that like Star Amanda, using second person for the verses is really cool. I mean, like and that just stands out to me as like I love things that are written in second person, and I always get to enjoy like seeing them because I very rarely see things written in second person. Wes Pele's verse at the top there was fucking disturbing, like really solid. I mean, like I don't know what else I expected from Pele, let alone you, but like I mean, like no, you're just doing this like really fantastic job of just like really taking this playbook that is like ostensibly on the surface level might seem being like, oh, that's kind of silly, but it's like, no, this is fucked up. And also like the serial card tarot was amazing. Love that. Chaotic
A+ for that. That was so good.
Yeah, huge. Yeah. Chaotic.
I want to get a bunch of those like little individual hotel cereal box things and like cut out the little and make
cut
a
them out
tarot
and do tarot out of them. Yeah.
The cereal
Kickstarter
box
for
tarot I
reward.
think was
Let's do
so
it.
great. I just want to do it just to have
Just
for
for fun,
myself.
just for a fun craft. Yeah, honestly,
cereal
like-
box tarot. Yeah.
I would. What the fuck does Toucan Sam represent? But anyway, Chaotic. I want to just say, like I said this in the chat, but I'll say it here in Stars and Wishes. Like your verse narrations were fully worthy of even some
They were
of
so
like the
good.
best
Yeah.
monologues from the podcast. Like that is 100% an aside I would hear on the show. It was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, Amanda, thank you for volunteering for my scene. I love that you really just played it so stilted.
That
and
scene was
uncomfortable.
so good. It was so funny and good. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, start to Jason for the gloam as just like the way they were role playing that. And also just for the keeper reaction itself of like you're gonna get this condition but you don't get to mark it. I'm like, that's super cool. I've never done that before, so I want to play around with that a bit more. Wishes, as far as wishes go, I realized that there are more like advances like in the Silt versus than like a normal CFB game, and like I'm really looking forward to taking more moves,
More advances, more verses, quicker conspiracy. You guys are almost done. We've only got 2 more conspiracy clues till we face the Institute. That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
But
so
we're just getting started, Jason.
the characters have way more runway for character life, but the conspiracies are shorter. That's because we want you to be able to do multiple of them.
Oh, true,
with one
yeah.
character. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, okay. Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's
So you
sick.
get two more clues, and we're in endgame. So that's it. Yeah.
But I want to do more Jasper. And then, man, I gotta be fucking fast and loose then if I want to do some fun things.
Well, I mean, with there's other conspiracies, and we can keep going and play another
Oh,
one.
okay.
I mean, it's not like, yeah.
I didn't
the
know there
ne-
were any written. So
No, the next one is like the fucked up rich family conspiracy. Yeah,
yes,
so,
love that. Okay, cool. Well, then I
Okay.
wish for that. I want to keep going.
Yeah.
Because
yeah. The
we're
next
learning
next
more.
one's very much like the kind of like the True Detective conspiracy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. Wait, no. Oh fuck. I want to do that so bad. Yeah, wish.
Okay. Yeah. I gotta give a star for that information,
Oh, before we
Jason.
before we move on from it, I want to say this too. Just for people who are watching who are curious. Also, so we really designed this one in a different way. Like the campaign cycles are shorter, and the keeper does not write the final confrontation. It comes with one. So you just like it's just another. It's called the confrontation. It's basically just another assignment. And you kind of fill in some of the details that have developed in your notes, but otherwise it's a pre-written assignment. So you no longer have to write your own. So yeah, and that's because it's a shorter cycle. So you don't. So it makes sense that in that sense. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm so excited for that. Oh, that's a lot of very good information. Okay. I'm taking notes. I'm so excited for this game to come out. I don't know when it's coming out. I'm just
We're trying. We're trying to get it
I
done.
know.
Yeah.
I'm just desperate.
And
I
it's all on me right now. The book is laid out. It basically layout's just waiting on me to finish up with my edits, essentially.
Yeah,
So.
I probably because of like just how weird like some of the moves interact with each other. Sorry for that.
Yeah. There's a lot of from a dev edit standpoint, it's a lot of fun, but it is definitely I mean, this is really like my part of it, right? Like Gabriel has done like 90% of the writing, and it shows, like, because he's a better writer than me. Like, I could not write like this, and but the mechanics part of it is for me, and it's an equal task, and so because there's so much stuff to go through, but I'm getting there.
Gotta give a star for everyone's verses today. Just a lot of different types of perspectives of like, we have Pele with just a lot of religious imagery through the farming, and just the horror of like how religious imagery is naturally horrifying. Senna with second person sort of prompts, Jasper with literally involving another person. I have not seen that before. That was incredible. I just generally of like, I'm ready to have Theo enter into his I'm going to fight everything phase of like his character arc, because he doesn't like the system of like how gods and saints are treated at all. So now like there's going to be so much inner conflict with Pele, with what's going on with that weird doctor guy. I'm looking forward to Jasper's issues coming to the surface more, rather than him being this well-spoken like theatrical person. And Sedna is a mystery, and I'm ready to crack that nut open as well. I'm so excited for us to reconvene on several layers. So yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, I have a similar wish for. I'm excited for when we all get back together and just sort of start to get some more role play as a group, because of all the different experiences we've had and all the things we know about the characters now. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I do have a bunch of stars, of course, for the verses at the very beginning. They were all really, really great and horrifying, and like Jason was saying, they've really built out this world in ways that are even worse then I imagine, I think at one point I mentioned in chat about how terrible and awful this world is and it couldn't possibly get any worse. And then I was like, and then chaotic says, hold my coffee. But yeah, it's just really, really incredible verses. Alex, thank you so much for inviting me to join you in yours. That was so much fun to role play. That was a really, really great way to make that monologue happen. I super want this tarot deck as well. I want it to be scratch and sniff. I want it to smell like the cereals. That's very important.
If you made one out of real cereal boxes, it would still kind of vaguely smell like
I
cereal.
was automatic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been thinking about. I have a marketer's brain, and so this is like I was already thinking about it, and I was doing the cost return on doing like a Kickstarter for cereal box, like, and like I have a buddy that makes stamps, and essentially just like buying a bunch of cereal boxes and cutting them and making tarot out of them using stamps
That would
over
be
like
so fun.
for like a border with a name and everything like that. So you
Yeah.
that like, and I was like, is this a DIY? Just like make up some fucked up like tarot cards, and then I was like, stop. I was like, you have other things that you need to focus on. You just stop.
Real
But next time I go
project
to a
first.
hotel, I'm gonna be like, give me all of your fucking cereal right now.
They're gonna be like, wow, Pele, you are like this in real life. I really liked the moment when Theo said, not me in particular, after Leo, I believe that he was talking to, said, oh, well, we had just had a murder here. Do you know you're wanted for murder? And then Theo's response was, not me. I wasn't wanted for murder.
Yeah, that was such a good reaction. I love that.
It just felt very Theo in the moment. It was really great. I also big star for Chaotic for the grossness of the solution of the Hungering Roots with the rise beneath the loam and all of that. It was very descriptive and horrifying, and I really loved all of that. I love all of the interactions between Pele and the Doctor. They're just so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable, and
I love Dr. Ishikaro. It's so fun to play. Yeah.
such a fun character. And I'm excited to see more of Jasper and his new friend, the emotional support Gloam. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
Theo is going to be very concerned about that soon.
Is that everyone?
I just want to say, shout out Star, the Gloam scene, fantastic. Like, that was a fantastic. Like, both of y'all working together, a very like clever use of like keeper reactions to a complication. Is consistently the things that you're doing. I'm just like writing down and like I'm like, you can literally do it. I'm in game design hell right now, where I'm just like my brain is filled with a bunch of game design. So it's like it's really inspiring seeing how y'all do stuff like using the second person and everything like that. I'm like, it's very inspiring. So sorry for all of that. All of you are great and wonderful.
I try to like whenever I would do the workshops for like mystery writing and stuff, I would always like try to encourage people, and indeed the entries that I always liked best in the contests are the ones where like you use like every part of the sheet, right? Like you invoke like, you know, the Janus masks into the mystery. You invoke, you write special conditions, you know, like when you can play with the elements on the various character sheets and stuff. I just think it's more satisfying, you know, like it's a fun way of like connecting up the mechanics to your specific fiction. And I
agreed.
it's worth doing. Yeah.
Agreed. It's really cool. Like with each release from the Gauntlet, it like it's you can see the foundation being built, and it's very cool to see. But yeah, also shout out for the Geese from Hell. That was sick and hilarious and horrifying. Big shout out for that. And then shout out Chaotic just for like pacing and everything like that. You've brought it up before, but you're like, if it doesn't like you're working like a mad scientist back behind here, like pacing for your character and utilizing those verses and everything in that way. That's very cool way to see. It's a TV show. It's what I'm seeing. It's premium HBO that I'm watching right now. Somebody mentioned in the chat, they're like, it's really cool, which ties into the verses. Everybody killed it. we all have our particular brand of doing our verses. We all have particular ways of playing characters, and it is so on display. And it's so cool. Each and everybody, like with your narrations and stuff like that, it's sick. Somebody in the chat that we have up here on the side said, it's great because I get to be an audience member for stuff like this. And it's like, yeah, no, this is sick. I'm watching my favorite TV show right now every Sunday. Like, so it's cool. It's cool. So yeah, that's
No, agree completely.
yeah. Wish more group. Yeah, more group. Bring like let's all get together and do a group day.
Fantastic. Any other stars or wishes? Okay. In that case, let's wave goodbye to people watching the video. Goodbye, people watching the video.